Alrighty, guys, and on the line with us right now is one of the true icons of female wrestling, and she's coming on to honor another true icon of female wrestling who's no longer with us. One of her foes from the ring, none other than the former Alundra Blayze, Madusa Michelli. Madusa, are you with us?
Oh, yes, I am. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's always great to have you on. I don't think we've had you on in 7.5 years or something, so it's an honor to talk to you once more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's not like I try to avoid interviews. I just do them sparingly.
Well, of course, unfortunately, we're not here for happy times. One of the things that we've said so far on the show is that this summer has been a horrible summer for us wrestling fans, and that is because we've lost young guys and legends and everything in between. We've lost far too many guys since the beginning of the year, but especially this summer. And one of the ones that we lost was just on Friday, and she was one of the, like I said, one of your foes from the ring, one of the few people that you worked extensively with in WWE and a couple matches in WCW, Luna Vachon. And that's a shock to everybody.
Yes, it has. And I wish we all had answers to the reasons of why pro wrestling is hit so hard with the deaths of such younger, older icons of pro wrestling. And we wish we could reach out before. We wish we would have reached out sooner. With Luna and I go way back. I was wrestling about 18 years, retired in '01. And her and I have had several bouts, very memorable ones. In fact, for some reason, I was just sitting around at my shop, and I just clicked on YouTube and watched a bunch of matches of her and I. I always said that Luna had the best smile in the business. That was the running joke between her and I. She did. She always had the most beautiful, best smile in the business.
That's what people forget, that underneath the makeup and the crazy hair was a very pretty girl.
No, hell yeah. She was gorgeous, and I always told her she was beautiful. I have some great stories about Luna and things that I'll always keep with me. There's one in particular that goes with that beautiful smile that I said it so much that her and I had a match. I think it was in Madison Square Garden where I actually did one of my roundhouse kicks and kicked her in the teeth and turned one of her teeth yellow, and she told me, "Now, do I have a beautiful smile?" Oh. And it was just, and she had a great sense of humor as well, amongst other things going on. And to know Luna was to love her. And she was a very strong individual. She had 2 beautiful sons. She was very dedicated, probably one of the most dedicated women next to Sherry Martel that I knew. And in the business, she ate, listened, breathed, talked wrestling. That was her life. And you got to respect that. And she'll always be respected and loved in my heart.
That's what Jim Ross said. Jim Ross ran into her at the Cauliflower Alley Club a few years ago, right after she had left. And he said that in his blog afterwards, and this was unfortunate, he said that even though she seemed like she was happy, it seemed like without the wrestling business, something was missing in her heart.
She was one of those true people that had it. There's very few people. People do wrestling for, many reasons, and for narcissistic reasons, for the money, for the love of the game. But it was Luna. If you saw pro wrestling, you saw the name Luna Vachon next to it. And she taught me a lot. She really did. She taught me to not take her too seriously in the ring when she went crazy. God bless her. And I understood. I understood her.
Did things ever get really stiff between you two in the ring?
Yeah, one time it did.
I think I heard about that.
Yeah, it did, and it did. However, it was just a misunderstanding.
Okay.
And we worked it out. That's what true people do. And in this business, if you can't work out your differences, you're truly not going to make it within. She had quite a jovial personality, and she would be another thing about Luna. If you didn't know her, she would give you anything. And
I think that's what people don't understand is that when you look right now, you see an outcry from the wrestling business like few other. I've not seen a genuine show of emotion since the Chris Benoit incident a few years ago. And some people might think that's an exaggeration, but it's not. If you read people, they're tweeting, they're Facebooking, they're MySpacing. Well, everybody that ever worked with her seems to have a positive opinion of her, and there's almost nobody that I could think of that would have the same thing said about them in the same situation. I mean, it is really stunning to see how many people really honestly cared about her.
Well, you got to remember, it's this pro wrestling is entertainment, and what people see or hear on the outside was business. But in the inside, where there was true friendship and love and honor, it was a good person. And that's where a lot of people didn't understand. We all have our differences. We all have our quirks. We all have our demons and ways that we don't even know how to handle ourselves. And the problem within this business that what is unfortunate is people get caught up in our business and they don't know how to separate themselves from the pro wrestling lifestyle to a personal lifestyle. And they get lost when they do leave pro wrestling, and it's almost like that poor little old lost NFL football player, and it's just, that never had any guidance. However, at least NFL grasped something and put something together for all the players afterwards in life. And I'm hoping that someday, somehow, and I believe that there'll be something like that to honor all the retirees.
That would be something that I think everybody's talking about of late. And there's been attempts, Dawn Marie, who, I don't know if you crossed Dawn Marie's path, actually. She started Wrestlers Rescue to try to do something like that, and that's kind of stabilized at the moment. And then there was the Cauliflower Alley Club, which is a great organization, but they just don't seem to have the funding to do it. It would just be great to see, a place where these guys are taken care of, because, like I said at the beginning of the show, Luna lost everything right at the end in a fire in her house. And she put out a thing through her friends, like Mick Foley and Missy Hyde and them, asking any fans if they had any footage or pictures or something to send it through. And I was actually sitting down the morning I heard the news, and I was going through every episode of Raw, recording her appearance, every pay-per-view. I was just sitting down going through it, and I was planning on doing this for probably the next couple of weeks with any spare time I would have come up, which as a parent of a 1-year-old, you don't get much, but whatever you get the opportunity to do. And I never met her. I felt that somebody that worked as hard as she was, that was clearly devoted to our business, deserved to have at least a little taste of what her contributions were.
Absolutely. I just learned that her house was burned as well. And Luna and I don't live too far, or we don't live that close, but we don't live too far either. And it was sad that her and I didn't get to see each other more often, but because we get caught up in our own little world. And I kicked myself in the ass for not doing it. But I gotta say that, Luna, you are very well loved, respected. You're going to be greatly missed amongst millions, thousands of people that worked with you, your coworkers, and your fans. And no one could ever take the place of her. Ever.
Truly one in a million.
Yes. Yes. Well, someday, maybe down the road, I've got some great stories that will probably make you piss yourself.
Well, when we last talked to you, you were starting work on that book. Maybe we can get that going again.
Yeah. Yes, and I just, I'm sure a lot of people have some, great things to say.
Absolutely. Well, before we let you go, we have to bring you up to happier things. And you mentioned that, a lot of people have trouble getting away from the business, and you're one of the few who did, and did so successfully. What are you up to these days?
Well, I think the pinnacle of my success is I did not get engrossed and fall into the pattern of just solely my business as far as pro wrestling. Being in it in so many years, it was very possible to get caught up in everything from drugs to steroids to, just being aloof to not being responsible to everything. I don't know how, which way, or what, but I've been a very self-motivated, self-innovator, self-achiever that I was just able to do it. I'm a very private person. I entertain 60,000 people every weekend now with my monster truck racing. However, I'm almost an introvert where I'm a loner. And it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing because it cleanses myself and it reminds me of who I am. If you were ever to walk into my house, you would never know what I did for a living. There's never, ever in my life, ever, since day one of wrestling, since day one of monster trucks, ever been a picture, one of my Mattel toy trucks up, never, nothing. They've always been packed away in them damn 25 plastic bins out in the shed. And why, I don't know. But I've never, ever hung anything. And if you look at interviews or books that people wrote or they've written and all these pro wrestlers, I mean, they have a whole damn hall of, oh my God, it's like just a shrine, and I think it's fabulous. But I don't have one, and I don't know what that is. It's not that I'm too proud. It's not that I'm embarrassed. It's not that wrestling owes me anything. It's just me. That's how I survived. And to be, again, I will be strong about this, to be a woman in a man's business, not once but twice. I kind of sat down and had a come to Jesus talk with myself and said, what the hell am I doing? Again, beating myself up. But it's truly, truly rewarding. And I've overcome a lot of adversities in life, from my careers to relationships and to myself. And it's been the best thing ever in my life. And I wouldn't change a thing. However, there's probably a few paths that probably would have took it a little bit different.
Well, yeah.
But I don't regret anything.
Yeah, you can't do that because hindsight's always 20/20.
And I can honestly say, I've tried it. I've almost done it all, And there's so many higher goals I have yet to achieve. And there's great things happening around the corner, and it isn't stopping. But I just want everyone to know that everybody is truly respected in the pro wrestling business, from women to men, by me and everybody else. We just don't get to say it enough. And there's always somebody new. There's always somebody doing something different. And those are the people that, that changes our business and makes it a little bit better or different. And I like it. We wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for change, right?
Exactly. But it is always important to remember where you came from, and that's why I love things like watching AWA on ESPN Classic. I think right now.
Oh my gosh, don't you go there. Oh my gosh. So you would not believe, like when I'm signing autographs for monster trucks, how many hardcore dedicated wrestling fans stand in line and all they do is talk about wrestling. The fan base is a cross promotion, and there's the you know, the demographics are basically the same. So, you know, and it just tickles me to see them both, you know, in one area. And they say, Madusa, would you ever go back? I said, hell, never say never. I still hold the WWE title, you know. So, I mean, you know, that's kind of funny shit right there. But I don't, it's just, I never forgot where I came from. Pro wrestling are it's truly my roots. Exactly. And it has,
and your fans can follow you because, like you said, you don't have any of your things on the shelf. I'm looking right now. This is no lie, no joke right now. Right here on the shelf next to a myriad of my favorite wrestling paraphernalia is Madusa's monster truck.
That's funny. Oh, that's good stuff. It's cute. It's cute. Well, I don't know. I like playing with trucks, so I mean, what would you do with the freaking 1,700 horsepower underneath your ass? Come on. I mean, that's pretty awesome. That's more power than my Harley gives me, so.
Very cool. Alrighty, Madusa. Well, I got to tell you, I knew tonight was going to be an emotional night, and I'm glad for you agreeing to come on and do this with us. And is there any parting words you'd like to leave your fans with, both from Monster Trucks and for really more of the demographic of tonight's show is the wrestling side of things?
Yes. Well, first of all, I just want to say, Luna, you've been a friend. You've been a mentor. I love you. We all love you. You're going to be so greatly missed. And I'll be watching you forever. Ever and ever, girl. And as far as my fans, thank you for your support. Thank you for your belief. Thank you for your faith. Not just for me, but everybody in the business. And thank you for all of you. You, of course, made us who we are. And never say never. And just keep watching.
I know there's plenty of the WCW girls that would probably be afraid if you say never after having you as a trainer. So.
Yeah, right.
You were loved, respected, and they knew you were tough as nails. So that's a good thing.
Oh, thank you. I was trained by very good people. Thank you very much, and thank you for having me. And I wish you the best.
Absolutely. You stay in contact, and if there's ever anything you need us to promote, you don't have to come on the show to do it. You can just send us an email or come on the show if you want, and we'll gladly post it up on the site. Because
all right. Just keep your eyes open, everybody, and yourself.
We keep everything here. Our site is dedicated to professional wrestling and the people who made it what it is today, and that is why we have a section on the site that's RIPs. And you know what? I hate that list keeps growing, but it's one thing that I'm happy. My wife and I actually sat down, and more so my wife, who wants to pay tribute to the people she grew up watching and the people we grew up watching. So, you know, we want to make sure that people will never forget.
That should be, yeah.
People should never forget.
No, and amen. All right.
God bless you. You take care.
Thank you. God bless you too. All right.
Thank you. All righty, guys. That was Madusa here on the Interactive Wrestling Radio here on WrestlingEpicenter.com, and we warned you guys that it was going to be an emotional night, and you know what? We just heard one of the toughest nails in professional wrestling. The toughest chick I think there probably ever was in professional wrestling. And you heard how emotional she is. This is just an emotional night, but it's all for Luna. And I don't know about you guys, but that's kind of heavy.
Yeah. It was a great interview, but I mean, you could just tell, even if you didn't know the situation, you just kind of heard, you could tell just by listening to the tone of her voice that this is someone that has lost someone that she really cared about.
And I want to say this to you guys. I know Madusa I didn't even get to say much to her, but Sean Waltman is going to be coming on in a few minutes. And he's not going to be emotional. He's going to be emotional, but not as emotional as that. But when he comes on, you know, he's a very personable guy, so I'm going to kind of lay back and let you guys kind of ask him some questions, because he really enjoyed our last interview, and he actually told me that the company he's currently working for, the company in Florida, owned by the owner of the parent company of the Mets, that he gets a lot of the news from what's going on with that company from reading our site, which I found very cool. He keeps up on the company he works for by reading our website. So I thought that was kind of neat.
Funny.
And that's Nick right there. Nick is the one. Nick is our designated editor-in-chief of news. So there you go, right there.
Didn't Lance Cage used to do the same thing?
What's that again?
Didn't Lance Cage used to do the same thing? Like he would be in the airport waiting to go to the next show, and he'd be looking at our site.
Lance Cage used to, he used to on the planes. He used to like reading our interviews and listening to our interviews. He said because he said the fights were boring, and he lived, breathed, and died wrestling, and unfortunately he did. So. This summer sucked.
Yeah.
Let's just sum it up as this: summer 2010 for wrestling sucked.
Well, for more reasons than one. I mean,
not just the deaths. That's the biggest part of it, but the content too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But when I started doing the YouTube videos, I thought maybe I'd mix it up and mix some positive in with some negative, but it seems like every week I've got nothing positive to talk about.
And what is the subject of this coming week's YouTube video?
I have no idea. I don't know.
For those who haven't seen it, it's posted on the Newsline now under the editorials heading, and it's the problem with PG is the newest one.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. I really did. Yeah, I enjoy it. It's good stuff, and you can hear Patrick every Wednesday night here. And in just a few moments, we're going to be calling Sean Waltman. To be honest with you guys, I'm kind of just trying to recover because you don't usually hear a woman who's tough as nails produced to, I don't know if you heard it, but I heard her crying a little bit, so it's kind of...
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, if this was the lineup of a show any other week, we'd be bouncing off the walls with excitement about, this is amazing, look at the cast of characters that's joining us. Unfortunately, it's for a sad occasion, but for the right reasons. Because all these people are coming on out of their own free time. Madusa owns a pet store now, by the way, and that's what she does all the time. And she mixes her time between monster truck racing and owns a pet store.
Oh, cool.
So her time is limited, and she came on our show because I called her, and she was willing to come on and talk a little bit about this amazing character that we lost. And I don't know about you, but I always thought she was just kick-ass, Luna Vachon. When she
she was, and I've actually got a story about how memorable Luna's character really was. My sister, who is not the diehard wrestling nut that I am, she's had her periods like when she was younger, where she kind of got into it, and she kind of got into it during the Attitude Era, but she hasn't lived, breathed, and died wrestling like I have. She found out about Luna's passing before I did. How, I don't know. I think she said it became a trending topic on Twitter, but she heard about it, and she was like, man, Luna, she was one of my favorites when I was a kid, man, because she was so creepy and scary and all this stuff, and she was so much fun to watch. She was so different from all the other girls. And she was also the one, I think I was telling you this, James, she's the one that told me that Luna's voice sounded like Jennifer Tilly if she were possessed by the devil. Yeah, and, testament to Luna, she was just that great of a performer.
And that was her voice. And that's, the Warrior promos that she used to cut, as Missy Hyatt calls them later on the show, they were out there, but they were, again, cool because if you looked at who they were coming from, I could believe it. I could believe that she's some kind of like a apocalyptic warrior who came out of nowhere and landed in professional wrestling. I'd buy it because she looked the part.
Yes. She had one of the most, unique looks throughout her career, whether, you're talking about her stuff in, WWE or, WWF and, WCW. It's like, you didn't mistake Luna for any of the other girls.
And another thing I thought was interesting, I don't know if this is true, but I think she might be the first lady wrestler to ever make it into a video game.
Huh.
She was in that old Super Nintendo WWF Raw. She was the only girl in the game as a playable character, and I always wondered if she was the first one to ever make it into a video game.
I would bet if she wasn't the first, she had to be one of them. I mean, the only other girl I could see putting in a video game would have been Jerry. Hello?
Hello? James is probably calling Sean Waltman right now.
Yeah, I mean, like James said, it just seems like every couple days now, unfortunately, we hear about somebody passing away. I mean, just yesterday we found out J.C. Bailey, who worked for Combat Zone, passed away.
What?
Yeah, and then apparently Zandig...
That's not bad enough. Zandig's kid died too at 18. The creator of Combat Zone.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so, on top of that, I mean, Trent Hassett, who worked for the company for years, and it's one, and I don't want to sound insulting here, but it's one thing to lose Skandar Akbar, who was an elder man who, even though it was kind of suddenly, it's like, okay, he had to be in his 70s. That was a natural lifeline, but then, you hear about 29, 28-year-old kids passing away. It's one of those things where I was like, my God. And then, Luna was not that old, when she passed away on Friday.
Yeah. It's really sad, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh.
James, are you still there? Or... Okay, he's probably trying to call Sean again. All right, so is there anything else you want to talk about, Nick, before we bring on Sean Waltman?
I always say this, when we kind of wind up in these periods where we're waiting for a guest, I don't want to start anything because I don't want to then have that, if it's a good topic, I want to stay there for when we have more time, like next week. So, but then it's like, if it's a bad topic, there's not really a whole lot to say.
Right.
Just got a call, by the way, guys, from Sean Waltman. He's ready to come on the show. So if you guys want to talk a little bit more, bring Sean on the show in just about 2 minutes.
All right.
Okay, so is he going to call into the switchboard, or?
No, I'll patch him through.
Okay.
And you guys, he's a cool guy, so we've had him on before, so feel free. Jump on in. All right.
Okie dokie.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to want to ask him about that company in Florida a little bit if there's time. So I'm really interested.
I don't even know the name of the company.
I think, God, I posted it on the newsline. It was like sometime in the last couple of weeks. They do have a name, but, we're so early in the game that it could probably change.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people are shitting on it right now, saying that, it's gonna fail, blah, 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 blah. Personally, I'm willing to give it a chance. If it's another option, I'm willing to check it out.
Oh.